Let's make history. So this is the history of abortion part 2. I'm not going to really talk much about history. Did that on part 1, but I want to use this time to briefly talk about what this means politically. So first off, I do not support a nationwide abortion ban. I don't think any states really should ban abortion, across the board. If a woman needs an abortion, she should be able to get it. But with that being said, I also am of the mindset that we shouldn't create an atmosphere where people feel like they have the ability to just live recklessly and just haphazardly get abortions whenever they slip up. We should be more responsible for that. Life does have value, and that's the thing where the lines get crossed, where the confusion comes into play, is that people on the left, women in particular, would say, oh, it's my body, you can't tell me what to do, you shouldn't be able to tell me what to do with my body. And of course, no one's arguing that point. The thing is, who's gonna advocate for the baby? That's what Republicans are saying, but people on the left can't seem to see that. So there seems to be no middle ground, which there should be. I think it should have been left the way it was. I don't think it was a smart move for Republicans to overturn Roe. Even though also it is usually a better thing for things to get kicked back to the states, because it gives citizens more of a say in what's going on. For instance, it's more difficult to get things done on legislation done on a federal level, whereas you more so have the ability to be effective because you have access to your congressman, you have more access to even your mayor or governor, especially if you live in a small town. So, but with this one, this is a different story, and I believe it comes down to, people with progressive values, even though we may not agree with everything, we may not agree with each other on everything, but we have to admit that both sides have good intentions. So let's say that first of all, whether you agree with them or not. We're talking about abortion, so I got on the right for that. Now to go to the left, the problem is someone once said, and I want to pose this question, when does the left go too far? See, on the right, they're usually willing to compromise and end up compromising, but not the same on the left. If you ask a person from the left, which was asked, when does the left go too far, they never answer. They can't have an answer for it, and they'll just get defensive 9 times out of 10. And that's the case with abortion. Okay, so you got abortion. Well, why do we have to have late-term abortions? And then on top of that, Democratic leaders will lie about it. Take, for instance, Tim Walz, who just ran for vice president with Kamala Harris. Before Tim Walz became the governor of Minnesota, there was a law in place saying that if an abortion was given and the baby survived it, by law, they would have to keep the baby alive to the best of their ability and care for it as they were any other human being. When Tim Walz came into office, he changed that law, but he was very cunning about it because they switched up the wording. They took out where the law said you had to care for the baby as if it was a human because it's viable now. And he changed it to where it says you can offer comfort care, meaning you could basically leave the baby there to die. That's a big difference. It's a big difference, but it's very subtle in the wording, and this is how he was able to get away with it. Then he took it one step further and made the law where hospitals didn't even have to report when an occurrence like this happened. This is beyond cunning, actually. This goes off into being diabolical, and I'm not being hyperbolic. We're talking about babies here, and this is the thing. With the left trying to prove their point, they lost all compassion for the child. and they just think about the woman. So we have to find some sort of a middle ground. Donald Trump said he doesn't support Donald Trump said repeatedly he does not support a nationwide abortion ban. He's pretty much moderate on the situation, but Democrats lie and claim he does to make him look bad to persuade voters. Even Obama got in on this, and I was surprised. Downright lying.
I looked at this law. I looked at this law prior to last night. We've been talking about Tim Walz and his radical social policies for a while on the show. Here is the law. Okay, it is Section 56, Minnesota Statutes 2022, subsection 145.423, subdivision 1. It is amended. Tim Walz became governor in 2018, and they amended it in 2022, took effect in 2023. Subdivision 1. It used to read recognition, medical care, a born alive infant as a result of an abortion shall be fully recognized as a human person and accorded immediate protection under the law. This piece of it was passed before he became governor in 2015. All reasonable measures consistent with good medical practice, including the compilation of appropriate medical records, shall be taken by the responsible medical personnel to preserve the life and health of the born alive infant. That's how it used to read. Tim Walz got into office and he changed it with the Democrats in his state house to now read recognition. Medical care is crossed out. Recognition, care, it now reads. And instead of a born alive infant as a result of an abortion, it now reads, an infant who is born alive shall be fully recognized as a human person and accorded immediate protection under the law. All reasonable measures consistent with good medical practice, including the compilation of appropriate medical records, shall be taken by the responsible medical personnel, and they crossed out to preserve the life and health of the born alive infant and changed it to all responsible medical personnel shall care for the infant who is born alive. Do you no longer have to preserve the life and health? You just have to care for the infant. What this means in the law and what they so heavily debated in Minnesota was the switch from medical care to comfort care is how it's referred to, because this is a thing that's happened in many states where they've had this debate between the pro-lifers and the pro-choicers. Must you try to save the baby that you just tried to kill in utero, but you failed and somehow the baby was born alive? Must you provide life-saving care, or must you just provide so-called comfort care until the baby expires or lives? And in Minnesota, he changed the law to say no medical care is necessary. You can just do comfort care. And secondly, he revoked the requirements that they keep track of the number of babies this is happening to. And here's the other thing, Michael. Well, let's just stay there, because then we'll go next level next. But those are the facts that J.D. Vance tried to raise and that sociopath denied repeatedly, getting indignant saying, that's not true. You're trying to distort the law and the way it's written. This has been misread, and was fact-checked at the ABC debate. Those are all lies.
You know, we know what comfort care means here. The other Democrat governor, Ralph Northam, explained it in an interview that the left-wing media are trying to deny and debunk and hide. But he said exactly what it means in this scenario, which is if the baby survives the abortion, the baby will be put on a table somewhere and kept comfortable while a conversation ensues between the doctor and the mother. The comfort is the comfort of neglect and the comfort of death. Even at this term, when it's used in less egregious ways. Any person who's ever had a loved one enter into hospice knows exactly the difference between life-saving medical care and comfort care or palliative care or hospice care. The former is designed to keep the person alive. The latter is designed to await death. That's all that it's for.
So, again, just to reiterate, I do believe that if a woman needs an abortion, she should get it. But at the same time, we should have it where you get an abortion if you really need it. It's not you get to sleep around, and then if you accidentally wind up pregnant, you can just get an abortion and kill the baby. What kind of thinking is that? What kind of people have we become, and where does that road lead? We can't just discard morality, even if you're not religious. You can't just discard morality. This is the most sacred thing, a baby. What are we doing here? You know, so again, everybody be safe out there, act responsibly as possible. Human beings do make mistakes. You know, we're out, we drink, we have fun, and we can slip up. We are not perfect. However, we can't lose what's most sacred, and that's the compassion for an unborn life or a newborn life. So, though I do support women being able to get abortions, I do not support late-term abortions. I think this needs to stop immediately. It's immoral, it's diabolical, it's sinister, and we don't want to go further down that road. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.